YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show is presented to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. I'm Chase Miller. We'll hit the hard court for all 6 interviews this week, with 4 of them on the North Dakota side and 2 of them on the Minnesota side. Sargent County girls basketball is coming off a season-opening win at South Border last night, and the Bulldogs are ranked in the top 10 in the preseason poll. Randy Syrstad will join the show from Sargent County. Also, we'll preview the upcoming Barnes County girls basketball tournament as Commissioner Kelvin Kraft will join us. We'll have all 12 games next Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from VCSU right here on YourLiveEvent.com. Then we'll double dip with the Thompson Tommies, who are ranked as the preseason favorite in Class A girls basketball. Jason Brend, their head coach, will be joining the conversation. And our senior spotlight this week is with Brenna Martin of the Thompson Tommies. Then we'll put a ball on the show with a couple of Minnesota interviews, as we'll chat Knights basketball with Climax-Fisher and Nathan Stoa from Hawley boys basketball. But let's dive into our conversation here with Randy Syrstad and Kelvin Kraft on YourLiveEvent.com. As we continue on our YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, joining us now, the 1-0 Bulldogs, off to a really good start here just last night, defeating South Border. That is Randy Syrstad, head coach for Sargent County girls basketball. Randy, before we talk about the rest of this season here and what District 1 has to look like, there's always butterflies, there's always nerves into game number 1 in a season opener, whether it's a 3-class system, 2-class system, non-region or non-district game now that we get to say on the eastern side of the state. Just take us through your thoughts on, game number 1, earning a victory, and getting ready here for the next game 2, game 3, and so to speak throughout the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we didn't know what to expect with mainly our JV level, but we kind of knew what the experience we did coming back with 4 starters and a great group of girls to work with so far this young season. But it goes to show like the change and transition into this new class is going to be a lot of fun. We do have to travel a little bit more, which we had to make a long trek last night and a little day. But overall, I think better for the program and for the communities and programs around the area too. So,
take us through a little bit here, some of the players that you're going to rely on as this season kind of moves forward into December, into January, before we get to that district tournament in February, which is fun to say. It's been 8 years, Randy, since we had a district tournament on this side of the state.
Yeah, definitely. The super regional was kind of voted on, adjusted there too. But I was trying to think of my last experience with district tournament, and that was when I was playing in high school, and that's almost 20 years ago now. So, but there'd be some key players coming up. Yesterday we had 4 scoring double figures. Emma Bixby will lead the pack and be our point guard. She is a floor general out there and leads by example with her hard work and tenacity on defense. I think she had 7 or 8 steals and 12 points. And then Carly Cadoon and Hallie Nelson will be in the middle. They can shoot outside, but they, in the transition, they can finish at the hole and shoot outside as well. And then Liliana Lee filled in and started last night and did pretty well too and scored in double figures. She's a taller presence inside with Amber Kerr as well and dominates the boards. And they both can shoot outside too. So it's kind of fun to see those girls do well so far in the first game and get off to a good start that way too. So
take us through District 1. I take your team out of it here, Randy, who are going to be some teams throughout the season that'll present a challenge, throughout the regular season. And once you finally get, to NDSCS there that second week in Wahpeton for that district tournament.
Yeah, I believe Maple River will be the team to watch out for. We have them later in the season. I'd like to play them a couple times. They're just a fun group with Nathan Hoots leading the pack for them. But they got a good core coming back too. Addison Hanning's a big presence that we didn't get to face last year because she got injured, but she's back, and they got a lot of pesky, good, younger, experienced girls too that have played a lot of ball for them. So they'd be right there, I think, right behind us. They'd be our toughest task, I think, in the district play. Some other area teams, Lemoore was, ranked in the a lot of preseason stuff, like with the Hoopster. But there'll be some good caliber basketball coming up here in February for sure.
As you take a look at the 3-class system, what's one thing that you're excited the most about the 3-class system from your point of view here, Randy?
I think, it brings back that district tournament. I have a lot of good feelings from that. both playing and seeing as, an adult too. I haven't had experience as a coach before, so that'll be a little bit different. But just that aspect, the extra tournament type play, getting into the regional, that I think that'll be good for our team and for our players too to see, and for the fans as well. I think parents probably grew up with it too, and it'll be a lot of fun to see them get to see their kids now play in that. So, yeah.
And then as a coach, do you have to do anything different with the 5 fouls, that resets per quarter? Did you have anybody in the stands go, wait, why are we shooting 2 fouls here with 2 minutes left to play, in the first or third quarter? Anything come to mind? But from your point of view, Randy, as a coach, does it change strategy wise, or is it, hey, you know what, it might not impact the game as much as maybe some fans think?
No, Coach Bittner and I from South Border talked about that last night too. And, just it's the adjustment on the clock, people, and then the referees noticing whether they had to or not. I don't know if it's going to really alter. We'll see after a few games if it adds or takes away some free throws. I mean, that's kind of everyone's opinion, I guess, too, but it'll be kind of a stat thing, I think. But it was different not seeing that bonus and then not seeing past 5 fouls in the quarter. But there wasn't a huge hoopla or anything like that. I told the parents and the kids, and I think everyone is on the same page with that realm. So it was good.
Final thing for you, Randy, before we let you go, whether it's, your next game into January to February, when people watch Sargent County Bulldog girls basketball this season, what's 1 or 2 things that you want people to take away, or what's a characteristic, so to speak, that you want people to see from your squad throughout the season here, Randy?
I think, our hard work and has paid off so far. So I'd say hard work. I emphasize attitude and effort at all times, trying to keep that ingrained and staying positive with each other as a team. They reiterate it to me all the time too, and they kind of have fun with and poke it with it at me too. But at the same time, it's helping them memorize that kind of stuff and being that way with the rest of their teammates and the younger ones, and bringing the program up from the bottom up, so to speak. So, yeah.
Should be a lot of fun. Randy, as always, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck, and look forward to seeing you at a basketball court sooner rather than later coming up here in these winter months.
Thank you, Chase. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Randy Syrstad, head coach of the Sargent County girls basketball team, will continue on our Coaches Show after this.
Live, work, and play here in Hillsborough, North Dakota. The Hillsborough Economic Development Committee can assist you with information and support for business and housing. Experience Hillsborough. More at 104.
Well, it is that time of the year again. The Barnes County girls basketball tournament's just around the corner, which means the boys will be kicking off things here in 2024. Joining us now is the AD from Enderlin, boys basketball coach, but in this term, he's the commissioner of the Barnes County girls basketball and boys basketball tournaments here in Kelvin. Always a fun time to talk about the BCT, because we know that means winter sports season is in full throttle. Fun to see this year on both the boys and the girls side that there's going to be a true 8-team bracket where you win 3 games, you get to that championship. You can kind of allude a little bit to this as well as we kind of get into it, but always fun to have this time of the season here a little bit, having the opportunity to talk of the BCT, talk about those previous champs, talk about the free throw competition, the whole 9 yards. But what's it like from your point of view, putting this all together and seeing it come to fruition here around the corner in December?
Yeah, I think we're the longest running tournament in the state, obviously in the history of all the tournaments that have happened in the state. So, there's been some hiccups in the past few years with teams co-oping, not being able to do it, but getting a full 8 teams this year, keeping the tradition going, because there is some people that do like it every year and kind of have it on the calendar and keep that thing going. Because obviously as teams change, and there used to be about 24 teams inside the Barnes County tournament from Barnes County, and now obviously in 2023-24, it's a little bit different, but to keep the thing going has been an important part for some people. And, my job is to make sure we can do it, find who's coming when. And it was really nice to get 8 teams finally for the girls again for the first time in a few years. And even though we're going to have a JV kind of split because of certain things, an 8-team bracket, knowing, hey, you win, you move on, you lose, you don't, is really a good thing for the girls and all teams involved. And everybody's kind of happy about that.
Yeah, something new this year with the 3-class system. I'd be curious how this continues to evolve moving forward. Just, maybe getting some different teams that might not want to play the BCT because your second or third time you might be playing a region opponent or district opponent, going back to Class B with districts across the board here, Calvin. But for those that are coming, Valley City is going to be there from the JV perspective. Barnes County North, they're only having a JV girls varsity, not going to have a varsity program, just a JV program this year. So you kind of had to get creative, and you found a solution with Northern Cass and Central Cass on the girls' side here, Calvin.
Yeah, absolutely. So Barnes County North girls are not going to participate this year, so that kind of left us a little bit short. So Valley City will, and who knows, whoever they bring for their JV, could be some varsity girls, whatever they bring. Will be nice to have the in-town team back in the tournament on the boys' side and the girls' side. It'll bring some buzz around it, get some more people in the stands probably because they're in town. And then obviously Central Cass and Northern Cass JV really helping us out to make 8. When Barnes County North dropped out due to their numbers, and thankful for them. Reached out to many different people, from sophomore teams to big cities teams from all over the place, and it's tough to commit for 3 games. But we made it work with the 2 JV. So thankful to Northern Cass and Central Cass, so we can make this thing an 8-team tournament and kind of normalize it, I guess, for this year.
Yeah, and one of the top 2 seeds is the defending champ from last season in Maple River. They're the 2. Number 1 is a Northern Cass, a girls basketball team here, which they're going to, as the example, Northern Cass this year is an A, Maple River's in B. So how is that something from your point of view here, Calvin, putting these tournaments together? How fun do you think the 3-class system is going to allow this? Because Valley City, same boat, is a competition going up against maybe some B competition. How do you think this will help the tournament, moving forward?
That's good. That adds another thing to it. Like, hey, we're playing an A team today or B team today. And back to the schedule thing, I do think or hope more people might be knocking on our door. Coming in, the schedule was kind of, in the region, you had to play 11 games. You only had 9 non-region. Now inside the district, depending on how you set it up, like in our case, we only have 8 games we have to play in District 1. And so now you have 11 games you can schedule. And same thing on the A side, depending on if they play their region twice or once. Some regions have 6, some regions have 7. So now you're down to 6 games total. You might have to schedule 14, or if you play twice, you still have 6 games to schedule. So we're hoping that opens some things up for us, and we can kind of get more teams involved / non-JV, depending on how the years go. But yeah, that's probably going to be a good thing. Hey, you want to go play on a full 94-foot court, tournament style atmosphere on your live event with anybody you want watching. So there's a lot of pluses to it. Especially with our district, our boys district is at the bubble. And so, obviously it's nice to play 3 games on it before you get there. So, good things like that. And even with the AB, double A thing, if we can get some mixture of all the teams, that just makes the tournament more appeasing to everybody.
Yeah, always a fun time of the year because you kind of go from the girls' perspective. You go from that volleyball season, getting your basketball legs and playing 3 games in 4 days, so to speak. And then on the boys' side, you're going to have 3 nights in a row, very similar to what you might see in a tournament. So as both the commissioner and as a coach here, Calvin, what does a tournament like this early on in the season, whether it's on the girls' side or the boys' side, how does that help you as you kind of get into February and March, where, as you mentioned, on the eastern side of the state, it's been nearly a decade since we've talked about in Region 1 or Region 2 district tournaments. In Region 3, they've had it with District 5 and District 6. But on the Class B side, with just the 2 classes, it's been nearly a decade of super regionals here, Calvin. So it kind of gets you back into the swing of things of, so to speak, those tournament games in a short amount of time in a week here.
Yeah, absolutely. Not sure any tournament have this, but Northern Cass and Lemoore were in the tournament, in the volleyball tournament, right? So now they're on day 2 of practice, day 3 of practice. We're trying to get their roster and picture. And they're the last 2, but obviously on a good reason why. They were busy in the Fargo Dome. And so it's going to be different that way. And obviously they're going to be, early in the season. It's tough to rank too, like our 1 through 8. You can kind of throw that out, but you have to kind of guess to make a tournament run. And, that'll be kind of fun to watch, but it's kind of cool to have 2 teams that were in the state volleyball tournament here. Back to districts, 2015, I was part of the last district boys tournament. Carter Kretschmann hit a 30-footer over Graham Hurlbert to win it 82-80. So I love district tournaments, and that sticks out. That was the last one we had in our region. And now going back to district tournaments again, and this format, in districts, you don't play 3 in a row. You play 1 and then a break and then 2. But in the state tournament, you play 3 in a row, and it's 94 feet, and you get to play on, in a atmosphere like it would be. So it's good to play and know what your legs are going to feel like day 2 and day 3. And again, it's, people kind of look for holiday type things, and places to go instead of playing just at a regular home or away. And this is a very good option for that.
It really is. And I go back to seeing, some of the girls basketball tournament champions. The very first one, Litchfield in 1924. You got Grand Prairie, Pillsbury. I mean, there's some schools and some towns that I don't think people know of, and myself, quite frankly, here, Calvin. And as we kind of look to that, 1924, which means we're at year 100 coming up here of it all together, but some years being off with whether it might have been, World War I, World War II we're talking about. Obviously, COVID, you add a sprinkle of that into anything. It's kind of fun to pick up a book and go, okay, there was a Carla Hagen from Catherine was the free throw champion in 1956. That's someone's grandma or even maybe a great grandma now that we're talking about, Calvin. So it's always fun to talk about the history and bring some towns and maybe those co-ops that you were alluding to, giving those respective districts and schools and people that still live there or were from there an opportunity to maybe wear their school colors one more time from yesteryear a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Every town on there, whether it's Catherine, they're in our district or whatever, it has a school district, so like if you live near Nome or you live near Fingal, you live near wherever those towns are, technically, like if you had a kid, they go somewhere, right? So again, it's kind of cool to see, well, those 4 teams make up now what is Maple Valley, those 5 teams make up what is now Barnes County North. And obviously, like we talked about before, there was 20, 30 teams just in Barnes County, back in the day when there used to be 4 districts to a region. And, in 1968, I believe there was class A, B, and C, right? It would be the first time since then with 3 classes. So, back in those kind of times, there was just a lot more teams and everybody, had less on the team probably, but it was kind of a big rallying point for that community. And same thing, you go to some grandma or grandpa or great grandma has this book from this year. They probably knew them because they were their neighbor. They were the person they played against, but it kind of brings back memories for people when they open that book and see names, like you mentioned, from way back when.
Final thing for you here, Calvin. I know it's going to be a little new this year. Everyone's been asking, so what is Class A doing? What's Class B doing? What's Double A doing? Are they playing halves? Are they playing quarters? Is it 30 seconds? Is it 35 seconds for a shot clock? So for fans that are coming out from the girls' perspective, and then we'll talk about the boys' perspective here too, I know the one big thing that as some coaches are going to have to deal with when it comes to strategy, also for fans to say, wait a second, don't they get fouls 6 and 7 and a quarter? That kind of goes away the single bonus. So for fans that this might be the first time they're watching, maybe in person or on your live event as they kind of get into the swing of things here, what are some subtle differences, whether it's the 3-class system or maybe just the national rule changes in high school basketball for fans this year, Calvin?
Yeah, absolutely. All kind of fun, things that will kind of go and people will kind of get recognized them as the years go. But obviously in A and B, we're both 4 quarters, 8-minute quarters. Double A is different with the halves, but we're going to stick with that 35-second shot clock. Now we're going to go with the women's college rule, which is now a national high school rule. You get 5 fouls and it's double bonus. There is no single bonus anymore, right? So we all moved our clocks and our score clocks now only go to 5. Like you get to 7 and you get 1 and 1 till 10 and the scoreboard would reflect that. Now it's just going to say 5 and it's going to stay at 5. Whether you have 10 in the first quarter or whatever, it's back to 5. Then the second quarter happens, it's 0, right? So you get 5 fouls and on that 5th one, double bonus, you get 2 no matter what. That should increase free throw percentage a little bit, I think, when you're getting 2. Obviously the only time you're going to get 1 now is on an and 1. So I think that'll help some free throw shooters at the line. You still can bring in subs in between. So you can still bring in subs in between the shots there and after, but that's one big rule change. And then now there's 4 out of bounds. So like, say I get fouled in the middle of the lane, there's 4 designated throw-in spots, each side of the basket underneath and 2 sidelines. So just a couple different rule changes to clean up where the ball is being taken out, clean up the foul situation. And in my opinion now, coach-wise, there's going to be less free throw shot. To get 5 fouls in the first quarter and the second quarter is going to take a lot. And so, that'll be a little bit different. There's probably going to be less free throws attempted, throughout the year on different things. Will that affect the scoreboard and less points scored? Maybe. I guess that'll be seen. But those are just some new rules that we'll be adjusting to this year.
And a cool thing about the Barnes County tournament, Mark Potts, his staff at Valley State University over the last 10 years, you can go back and find box scores from 2012, 2013, find who's on the all-tournament team, the sportsmanship award, free throw competition. That's always a really cool aspect to go back to a little bit. Maybe your younger brother or sister is now playing in it. You can figure out what, you were able to do. And the other thing, Kelvin, just from a fan perspective, for those who are able to come out to the field house there in Valley City, to the bubble, come out to the events, whether it's for one day or they're able to sit there and watch all 12 games from the boys and the girls side. What do you hope that kind of people take away from the Barnes County basketball tournament here, from the girls in December and the boys coming up in January?
Yeah, a good shout out to Valley City State. Mark Pasta does an awesome job. He's the tournament manager, right? I'm the commissioner, kind of overseeing, and then he runs the actual day-to-day tournament, find the scorekeeper. Deb runs the gate and all that kind of stuff. And then there's some, the commerce does the hospitality room and does some things. And the Valley City Officials Association provide all officials for all the games, and that's nice. And so we're not paying a bunch of mileage from, wherever. A lot of guys from around the area come and ref, and obviously the fans come in. It's nice to see 4 games, whether you get to see 2, maybe 3, 2.5, whatever it is. It's nice to sit and watch some basketball, because majority of the time when you're going to a game, you're going to watch some of the JV and the varsity, or just the JV and go home, or whatever your situation is. Now you get to see some area teams that are in District 1 or District 3 or whatever it's going to be, and you get to sit and watch a few of them if you want to. It's always comfortable at the bubble. The seat back's on one side. The other side's got nice seats too. But again, so it's spread out. It's an open atmosphere with some good basketball in front of you. So it's a good time to kind of turn the page to basketball season and officially get going that way. And it's kind of nice to do it right early in the year for the girls. They get that atmosphere, and all of a sudden it's before Christmas, and so they can kind of see where they're at, see what their legs are like, and then kind of regroup. So it's good all the way around.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We look forward to it here on yourliveevent.com. 4 games coming up, 3 o'clock just around the corner. Should be a lot of fun at 3 o'clock on all 3 days before you find out who the 2023 girls champion and the 2024 into January boys champion will be around the corner. Calvin, as always, thanks so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you on a basketball court sometime soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for Your Live Event for doing it. That makes a huge difference. I know everybody says it's going to be on. Is it going to be on? I said, yep, Chase is coming back. So that makes it a lot more visible to the state, and if we didn't have that, it would be half of what it is. So thanks for doing that, and we appreciate the coverage.
Kelvin Kraft, again, the commissioner of the Barnes County Tournament, will continue on our Coaches Show after this.
Hey growers, when working on your water management solutions, call Chad's Excavating out of Mayville. They are your water management contractor, helping you with tile drainage plans, service drainage plans, or both. Remember, water management is a lifetime investment. Call Chad 701-430-0182 to get your water problem solved. For more information, follow Chad's Excavating on Facebook. For tile drainage and service plans, call 701-430-0182. Chad's Excavating out of Mayville, helping farmers grow.
Do you want that new boat? Are you building onto your home? Maybe you want the new camper or ATV. Dakota Heritage Bank can help you. This is Dustin Nagel, president at Dakota Heritage Bank Hillsborough location. You can visit with me or our other loan officers to help with loans and lines of credit from Dakota Heritage Bank. We are serving you with locations in North Dakota and Northwest Minnesota. Dakota Heritage Bank offers financial services you expect with a local perspective. dhbanknd.com. Dakota Heritage Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
There's more at 104. Hillsborough, North Dakota has everything you need on your next road trip. Food, fuel, fun, and family-friendly activities. Stop by and fill up your tank or grab a bite to eat. Have a blast at Goose River Golf Club, the swimming pool, or one of our beautiful parks. There's even ice skating and cross-country skiing. Take in the sights or stay the night so you don't miss a thing. Experience Hillsborough and see why there's more at 104.
As we continue our basketball conversation this week, Jason Brend of the Thompson Tommies had an opportunity to sit down with our very own James Martins, and Joel Ansello had a one-on-one conversation with Brenna Martin.
On Your Live Event Coaches Show today, we are talking with head girls basketball coach from Thompson, Mr. Jason Brend. Thompson coming off a heck of a season last year, a run to the state title match, and an unforgettable contest with Central Cass. We'll talk about that and much more in the interview. But Jason, as always, thanks for extending the time, and happy basketball season.
Hey, thank you. Good morning, and it's a great opportunity to get here and talk about the team a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's go back to last season. I got a chance personally on the call for rugby's run to see the Tommies firsthand and to see that championship match at the MSU Dome against Central Cass. It was one for the memory books, whether you're a Thompson fan, a Central Cass fan, or just a girls basketball fan in general. Walk me through kind of reliving that moment a little bit in that runner-up finish last year.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the game still haunts me a little bit, so shouldn't be hard to do. Going into that championship game, we knew that Central Cass was definitely a different team than we saw earlier in the year when before Christmas we beat them by 4-6, something like that. And DeConte had just come back, and everybody knows what a difference maker she is on that team. So we knew it was going to be a lot different game. As far as matchups, we thought that it was pretty even. We thought positionally everything was kind of matching pretty well, other than a few here and there, maybe on both sides of the ball. But, just going through the game, it seemed like it was back and forth and just a tight contest. And everybody loves to tell us how what a great game it was. And it was, I'm sure. But, it's a little different sitting on the bench when you got a million things going through your mind. But, being down at the very end of the game of regulation by 3, we really expected Central Cass to come out and foul us. So we set things up, thinking that would happen. And we didn't actually get to the actual what am I looking for? The set that we were going to try to get open to get that shot off. But luckily, when you have a good player and great leader and senior and Olivia Dick, she managed to get the ball off from a little different situation. And, to bank that in was definitely a memory she'll never forget. And it really livened up the Minot Dome. I'm sorry. I was going to say in overtime, then, we jumped out a little bit. We went up 4-0 and their post tweaks her ankle and we're thinking, okay, maybe things are going our way a little bit. Well, little Ava Cotton, just another one of the Cotton girls comes off the bench and nails a huge 3 on us. So, it was definitely a shift in the momentum there. And then they ended up getting us by 3 at the end.
Yeah, Jason, you lost some quality members of that team, including Olivia, as you mentioned, Clara Stevens as well, gone to graduation, but you bring back a lot of talent from last year's squad. And you mentioned in the Hoopster that there were some things, even though you made a championship appearance, there's still some things for this team to work on in the offseason. Kind of tell us about the offseason this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure every coach says that about their team, but, Clara Stevens, Olivia Dick were both really good basketball players, but they were great leaders. And that was the number one thing on us coaches' list is developing and helping these girls step up, become leaders, the new ones, because, there's many times during a season that you got to lean on the kids to lead the way. I mean, it's easy from the bench to tell them what to do or ask them to do certain things, but they need their teammates to go out there and kind of push them and give them that little extra urge. And leadership was a big one. Obviously, physical strength. If you look at the roster we had last year, we had some freshmen playing, and they're going to be sophomores this year. We have some good juniors and seniors as well, but we had to get stronger, and that's something that comes with time. So kids put in a lot of time. They've been working out with Sanford Power up in Grand Forks, and they've been in our weight room as well, and, just looking to get stronger. And, I think overall, the big thing that we challenge them with is, we've got some good shooters coming back, but we need basketball players. Get better on the defensive side of the ball and distributing the ball and just playing within our system.
And let's talk a little bit individually about some of the key players you bring back. You bring back some all-region selections, and, of course, Cindy Schwabe and Kaya Hurst and Addison Sage, and some key contributors off the bench from last year's run, like Jordan Tozer. Your thoughts on some of the individuals you'll have in the squad this year?
Well, as you alluded to, we've got some good players coming back. We really do, and there's no secret to any of them. Sydney Schwabe, from the time she started playing for us as a 8th grader freshman, she's just come leaps and bounds, and she's probably one of the most, solid and reliable players we have. She just understands the game. A year ago, she really took a step back as far as passing up on some of the scoring that she'd done in the past because she saw as a team we had more of those scorers, as I mentioned, and we're just really thrilled to have her back leading the way again. She's kind of the glue that keeps the team together. And then in the paint, our other senior, Brenna Martin, she's a tall kid. She's a strong kid. She does a lot of things well. She really protects the paint well on the defensive side of the ball. We're happy with that. She's really good on the glass. She can go out there and grab a lot of boards for us. And, a lot of that has to do with height, but at the same time, a lot of it has to do with knowing where to be and understanding the game and where the ball is going to fall sometimes. Jordan Tozer and Jalen Obdam are our 2 juniors, and they're both, I hate to say big body because I don't mean it in a bad way, but they're strong individuals. They're both probably in that 5'8", 5'9" range, and they're just strong kids that, if they can play downhill, they're going to do some things for us this year on the offensive side of the ball. Both of them can stretch their game out on the perimeter a little bit, but in the paint is where they're going to really make their hay. And I'll tell you what, on the defensive side, if they can get after it, they're pretty solid there as well. We've got a lot of sophomores on the team. Obviously, you alluded to Kaya Hurst and Addie Sage as two coming back, all region players. There's no secret to those players. They really showed, I think, what they're capable of state tournament. Kaya Hurst is one of those, a sense championship type players because she does everything for you. Her best skill is her defense. I mean, she's phenomenal on the defensive side of the ball. She rebounds for us. She's one of our top rebounders, in fact, and she's not that terribly tall. She can score from the perimeter, from the paint. She can distribute the ball. She's just a great basketball player all around. And Addie Sage is maybe one of the more skilled players that we've seen in Thompson in a long, long time. You hear a lot about kids out in the driveway shooting hoops. Well, if you go by Addie's house, you'll see her in the driveway and she'll have cones set up. So it kind of tells you a little bit about the drive that she has and how bad she wants it. We challenged her on the defensive side of the ball in the offseason, and it's tough to work on defense by yourself. But she took the challenge and she really brought it to the weight room, thinking that she can get stronger and quicker. That it's going to help her there. Claire Calling is another sophomore that's going to get quite a bit of playing time for us this year. And she played a lot of JV last year, and she was on her varsity, but didn't get many minutes, but she can score. There's another shooter, another girl that can get to the rim. It's just getting her now up to speed and getting to gel with some of the other girls. And we really like what she can do for us as well. And, we got a bunch of other players as well that we feel are capable of doing some good things for us this year.
And you mentioned all those key players and that experience from last year. That was certainly a factor in the media ranking you guys number one in the first, you call it the preseason poll for girls Class A, the new Class A, with all the changes and all the new teams in. And what's your thoughts on, again, the number one ranking for the girls?
Well, I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's great because it's definitely telling you that people look at us as being definitely a team that can compete every night and has a chance to be there at the end of the season. And we've already talked to the kids about it a little bit, just assuming that we get a fairly high ranking. I didn't know if it would be one, but, and how it's not the number that gets assigned to you before you've even played a single game. It's that number at the end of the year. People, they look at not necessarily what you are, but what they think you could be. And that's a good thing. And I think that's good for our kids to see where they can be. And people understand that. And it's hard to really look at something before you've played a single game and say, well, yeah, they're going to be number one. But I get it. It's kind of based off of the season prior and the kids coming back. But, some of the intangibles that aren't there now is, like I mentioned, that leadership and some of these new girls that are stepping into some of those new roles and how they're going to gel with the kids. But, that's every team. So I guess somebody's got to be number one. So, hey, we'll take it.
Jason, we alluded to it a little bit earlier with all the different teams coming in and the 3-class system. That's, of course, the biggest change for basketball in the state of North Dakota this upcoming year. Walk me through some of the highlights of the schedule, some of the teams that you will get to play that you never played before for those that might not be familiar with the schedule this year.
Yeah, it's changed, but yet in a lot of ways it's a lot of similar foes. We still are going to open up our season out in Minot, and there were playing two teams that also moved up into this new Class A division in Bottineau and South Prairie, who both are really good teams. Everybody we've talked to talks about it. I know we played Bottineau last year in Minot, and they gave us all we could handle out there that time. And they brought their studs back from what we understand. So that'll be fun. You pick up the Devils Lakes and the Wahpetons. We're really excited about those games. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. They're teams we've never played and really haven't had opportunities to play. So we look forward to that and playing them during the season and pretty early on in a lot of cases. Otherwise, it's a lot of teams that have been on our schedule before with the Carringtons and Langdons, who I know is at a B, but they're going to be one of the top B teams. Mayport, they're still on there, and Hat Northwood, those are also going to be top B teams, we believe. But your Central Casses, your Kindreds, your Northern Casses, those are great basketball teams right there, and they all made that move up with us. So we're just excited about every night. We think there's going to be, great competition, and it's not going to be games that you're going into it, whether it's right or wrong, thinking, we're probably going to win this game. So let's work on some things. It's going to be going out there, and, every night you're probably going to get punched in the teeth. It's just a matter of how are you going to respond.
Looking at your region specifically, I really think of all four regions, Region 2 specifically, there's nowhere to hide. I mean, there are just incredible teams up and down the smallest region, though. What's your thoughts on being in the smallest region but having those quality teams in there?
Yeah, I think, like you said, the quality. I mean, you Grafton, Devil's Lake, Four Winds, and HCV's in there, and then at some point they're going to get things turned around. And, it's just going to be fun. I enjoy the competition, and I'd rather be playing in games that are going to be tight competition and we're going to get better because those teams bring out some of your low points so you know what to work on. So that's great. As far as being the smallest region with 6 teams in it right now, that probably affects the athletic director more than anybody else trying to find more games because now you play each team twice in your region. At the end of the day, the way that the tournament is set up to where we cross regions to get that state qualifier, I don't know that it's necessarily going to be a bad thing that we have less teams. It's not going to benefit us any or anything like that as far as being smaller. But it's different. You go from playing in a super region the last handful of years with 13 teams now down to 6. So it's definitely different. And there's going to be a lot of things throughout the season that are new. And, we're excited for all those. And, a lot of new opportunities are going to come with it.
Coach, in your 2 decades as a head coach, again, there's been a lot of changes. And, of course, the 3-class system is the big change. But there are some other smaller changes that are going to impact the game, including the changes at the free throw line. Your thoughts on that and anything else you want to remind the fans of to expect this season?
Well, I like the idea of this free throw thing. The more you think about it, the more it kind of makes sense in a lot of ways. It certainly probably benefits some of the teams that have a lot of depth. Just looking at some of the strategies involved, it could be a situation where if you have only 2 fouls with a minute left in a quarter instead of the half now, you could bring a kid off the bench to go in and maybe get some of those clean fouls, if you know what I mean, to kill some clock or to put some kids on the line that you want to put there. So there's some strategy involved, but it definitely is going to benefit some of the teams that have more depth, in my opinion. So it's going to be fun. It's something different. The NCAA women have been doing it and talking with some of their coaches. They like it. They don't see any, major concerns with it. So I think it's something that we adopted for a reason. I mean, obviously it's gone through all the stages of that process. So, it's here and it'll probably be here to stay. As far as other things, there's not a whole lot of new rules and not a lot has changed. The game has changed overall, no doubt, in the 2 decades, which when you said that, wow, I guess it's true that I've been coached now. But, I can remember when we came in, it was a lot more slow basketball. You set things up. You saw a lot more of the flex offense and, even saw a lot more of like zone defenses and things where now teams are playing a faster style and like to get after on both ends of the floor. And, you got to adapt with everybody else. And luckily, we've been lucky here to have, the kids that have pushed that change because they just want to get after it and play hard and they want to succeed.
That's Jason Brend, head coach of the Thompson Tommy girls basketball team. Again, the number 1 ranked team in the state in Class A on the girls' side. New 3-class system, of course, B, A, and AA. And as in years past, we will have the Thompson Tommy home games on yourliveevent.com. Jason, anything else you want to mention to our viewers?
No, just, come out and watch some games. Girls basketball's come a long ways over the last handful of years. And, it's exciting. It's a lot of fun. So the more people we get in the crowd, the more energy is in that gym, that much more the kids go out there and want to play and work hard.
Jason Brend again with the Thompson Tommy girls basketball team at our Your Live Event Coaches Show. Jason, thanks so much. Best of luck this weekend. We'll see you later on this season.
Hey, thanks, Jane. Appreciate it.
Live, work, and play here in Hillsborough, North Dakota. The Hillsborough Economic Development Committee can assist you with information and support for business and housing. Experience Hillsborough. More at 104.
Time now for our senior spotlight on the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. I'm Joe Lancello speaking with Brenna Martin of Thompson High School. Brenna was recently named to the All-Region 2 volleyball team after the region tournament a couple of weeks ago, and is also a member of the basketball team too. Brenna, talk about your school year so far.
Oh yeah, our school year's been going well. It's been going really quickly for a lot of the girls because a lot of them are in multiple sports. So just transitioning between, whether it's cross country, volleyball, into that basketball season, everyone's just getting their schoolwork done and it's been going pretty quick.
And you had something else going on too. You were named homecoming queen, which I'm sure added to your workload a little bit.
Yeah, during homecoming week, it was really fun. Everyone was very excited for all the activities that week, and yeah, it was awesome.
I know you are on the volleyball and basketball teams. I kind of lose track of you in the spring. What sport, if any, do you play then?
I no longer play a spring sport, and so yeah, I go out and support the teams that do participate in spring activities, but yeah.
Okay, well, what's your favorite sport and why?
My favorite sport is volleyball. It's just you're allowed to volleyball gives you the opportunity to celebrate after each point, and I think that's what I enjoy most about it. You can celebrate with all of your teammates, and it really creates a really fun atmosphere. And this year for basketball, I'm really looking forward to it, just having a good time and working hard.
Now that I think of it, it would get kind of weird if we celebrated after every basket or every free throw, the way
Yeah.
we do after every touchdown or something.
hmm
Anyway, well, Brenna, what's your favorite class at Thompson?
My favorite class this year is Advanced Comp. It's a dual credit college class for English, and I just really enjoy writing, and that class just always brightens my day.
Do you do any blogging or writing on a school newspaper or just kind of write an essay on Facebook, any kind of writing like that?
No, I don't. I have taken a few pictures for the yearbook this year, but yeah.
Is writing something you'd like to do full time as a
Um,
career?
I've thought about it. I think I'd just keep it more on the side. I think it takes a lot to become a well-established publisher like that. But
Mhm.
for my career, I'm looking more towards engineering or architecture.
Interesting. How'd you get interested in those areas?
I really like the hands-on aspect where you can go out into your field, like the field, and see like how your plans are coming together. And I've just always been fascinated with the designing of buildings.
Okay. Have you got a college in mind?
I'm not sure yet on a college, no.
Okay. So you mentioned writing is something you like to do for fun. What other things?
I spend a lot of time outdoors. I like to hunt and fish in when it's in season, and I also like to just go to the gym like outside of practices and stuff, hanging out with friends always, and I like to do a lot of crafts and building.
Okay. Uh, you do say you like hunting. Have you got a buck yet or anything like that from deer hunting?
No, I have a doe tag this year, and we've been out a couple times, but just haven't seen the one yet.
Okay. What's your favorite thing to do in the summertime?
My favorite thing to do in the summer is go to the lake and just do water sports, fishing, just have a little downtime.
Okay. With basketball season getting started as far as practice goes, how do you think the Tommies will do this year? You've been to state, I think, twice the last 2 years?
Just once,
Just
but
last year. Okay.
just last year. But this year, with practices getting started on Monday this past week, everyone's been showing up to the gym ready to work, and I've seen a lot of good effort from our girls, and we're just like excited for the season. We're ready to take on the new teams in our region for the Class A, and I think it's going to be a good year.
Okay. And you've got a pretty substantial group of seniors. You did it on volleyball and you do on basketball too, if I remember right. There were about 5 or 6 of you from this class?
For basketball this year, we only have 2 seniors, me and Sydney Schwabi.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
But volleyball a lot more because
Yes.
I'm thinking Drew Schwab and Josie Plain and I'm probably leaving some people out and I shouldn't, but
Yeah. In volleyball, we had 7 seniors. Like you mentioned, Drew and Josie playing, and then Addison Roller, Alexis Olsen, and Reese Danner as well.
okay. Anything else you want to share about yourself?
I think that's it.
Okay, Brenda Martin from Thompson High School, our senior spotlight. Thanks very much and best of luck the rest of your senior year.
Thank you so much.
Chew. Oh, I hate these colds.
You know, it could be more than just a cold.
What do you mean it could be more than just a cold?
Let's hear from Brenda at Trail District Health Unit.
We always want you to be aware of any temperatures, of course, signs of dehydration, body aches, the sneezing, the coughing, the sore throat, all those things that maybe you think you have a bad cold, but truthfully could be RSV, influenza, and of course it could be COVID.
It may be more than a cold. Learn more at Trail District Health Unit on how you can stay safe during cold and flu season.
Bank of North Dakota wants you to be confident when it's time to make student loan decisions. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident to calculate the maximum amount of student loan debt that is recommended based on your career choice. You can also learn how to apply for financial aid and get tips to cut education expenses. Visit bnd.nd.gov/confident today.
Treat yourself to a great career at American Crystal Sugar Company. Team up with quality people making quality products. Full-time and year-round in a stable business. With great pay and benefits including time off available from day one. American Crystal Sugar Company invests in you to promote your continued growth and career advancement. Grow your career doing your best work within the world's best beet sugar company. Apply online today at AmericanCrystalCareers.com.
Now we dip over to the Minnesota side of the river with some conversations with Nathan Stoa around the corner with our very own Kevin Kochman. But let's get an inside look on Climax-Fisher girls basketball.
Welcome back to the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation. I'm Joe Lancello, talking with Guy Finstrom, the coach of the Climax-Fisher girls basketball team. Guy, how have things been going so far for you in practice?
Yeah, it's been going very well. The girls, I got a good group of seniors, and they've really been showing really good leadership, and they're getting used to me, and I'm getting used to them, and it's been a pleasant surprise.
Now, had you taken a break from coaching before this season?
Oh yeah, I've been out of basketball coaching for quite a few years, but I was getting to the age where I wanted to give something back before I go to Arizona.
Okay.
So I wanted to give something back, but I have helped Darren Bicklum and the football team on and off for quite a few years too. So I've been around the Fisher Climax School system.
I understand that there was a jamboree back on the 18th before Thanksgiving up at Grigla, Goodridge, and Gatsky. How did that go?
I thought sometimes we played very good, and sometimes we got lost a little bit. And we played against 5 different teams, and there were some very good teams up there. And it's just getting used to the new offenses and defenses and that we run and staying on task. But everything that we did right, I thought we could do better. And everything we didn't do very well, I thought we could do better. So, and the girls understood that. And this past week, we've been correcting stuff and getting better. And, number one, nobody was in shape up there. So we've gotten better shape too.
Yeah, there's a difference between volleyball shape and basketball shape.
Yeah, we got a bigger floor to play on. Yeah.
And you're moving a 85 feet surface as opposed to one that's like 30 by 30.
Yes,
absolutely. Half a volleyball court.
Yeah. And, in that jamboree, we played 3 games. 2 back-to-back where you go 30 minutes constant. And then we went to another one 30 minutes constant. Then we went half court. And then we went 18-minute half, regular kind of game with officials. So the girls were running it quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they're getting a workout. So it was fun for me because I got to see a lot of teams play. That, I've been watched a lot of high school basketball, so it was good for me to know who are the top bananas, who can really play.
Were there some teams in the Pine to Prairie Conference North or from the region that you got to see?
Yeah, we got to go against Boston and Red Lake County, Winnie Mac, and Goodrich Kriegla. There's another one too. Goodrich Kriegla. And Fertile Bell. We got to go against those teams. So it was nice to see a bunch of teams.
Who are some of the girls that you have back from last season's team?
Well, you have Hawley, Redmeyer. Then you got Ava Larson, they're two seniors. Then you got Ella Paulsrud. She's back from last year. She's another senior. And then you got Cambry, Solheim. That's 4 seniors back. Mm-hmm. And, so, they do a good job of leadership in that. So, and then, you got Peyton Hoffman coming back, and Lucy Paulsrud. Then you got Claire. Yeah. Yeah, I'm new, so I got to learn everybody's name, so I'm kind of on the spot there. But, and then KK Corinta, she's back. Mm-hmm. And then you got Danica. So I got about nine players that are going to be helping out right away.
And you mentioned Peyton Hoffman as an 8th grader.
Yes.
And contributed so much last year. I think she was honorable mention all conference or second team, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Okay.
But yeah, she's a good player. No doubt about it. Yeah, she's gonna help us an awful lot. Yes.
Quite a presence inside, no matter what her age, but the fact that she's an 8th grader just has you just enjoying the possibilities for the future.
Yeah. And she loves the game of basketball. She really does. And when you love to come to practice all the time, it's pretty easy to coach it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And but the seniors, they love coming to practice too. And so it's kind of weird. We got a really old team, then we got a young team on here, because some of our young girls, Lucy and Claire, and that, we got 2 different groups, but I want them all to meld together for one purpose, and that's the betterment of the basketball team. Period. And that's, if you get everybody going the same direction, it's easier to pull the wagon.
I know from seeing them in volleyball that they certainly do believe they've got a strong team ethic.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you think the Knights will be the strongest this season as far as offensively and defensively?
Well, I think our defense is going to improve quite a bit. You got Cambry Solheim. She's probably our best defensive player so far. And she's a very good communicator. So she makes everybody communicate. So you can see they take a little pride in playing good defense this early on. And I'm very happy and excited about that. So right away, I'm going to say our half-court defense is going to be something that I'm going to look at as our foundation right now. And then as we grow, our offense will come about too. But my other concern is turnover. I told the girls, I said, if you can play defense and not throw the ball away, you're going to play for me. And so I'm trying to get the turnovers down. And throwing, not to pass the ball, but pass the ball to scores. So defensively, I think we're going to be good right away. And offensively, I think we're going to be able to put some points on the board too. because, Peyton can score, Hawley can score, Ava can score, Ella can score, so we got people that can shoot too.
How are the girls getting used to having a shot clock to play with?
We haven't been able to get used to it, but I coached it when I was in college, so I'm pretty used to it. It's a lot more time than you think. People say shot clock's there, but you go to a basketball game last year and you don't run a stop clock, and they're usually shooting it by 20 seconds. So I'm not too worried about it. But we haven't had time to really work on it. We'll probably do it this week. Thanks for reminding me. We'll probably put a little clock there when we're doing stuff this week.
Okay. Guy Finstrom, the coach of the Climax-Fisher Knights girls basketball team. You'll be opening up with a pretty busy week, that first full week of December. At home game in Fisher against the Northern Freeze, and then the next night at Lake Park Audubon, and then on Friday the 8th, you go to Bagley. What have you heard about those teams?
Well, we saw the Northern Freeze play.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have one player I asked about, and they said she's been playing for 20 years. So they got a very good team coming back. So it's going to be a very good test. And Lake Park Audubon, I don't know anything except what I watched on Huddle and that, So, but I'm not paying as much attention to them right now as I'm in the Northern Freeze. But I'll get to know a little bit more about them. I'm pretty sure they're good. They're in basketball country down there, so it'll be good. And Bagley, I think they beat Bagley a couple times last year, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to look at the films and see what Bagley's like, too.
Do you have a goal for this season? Last year, the Knights were 9-18. Do you have a goal as far as how many wins?
Well, my goal is that we get better every week. And I want to win the games at the end of the year. So I don't get really grumpy about not winning games during the season, but the improvement, that's what I'm looking for, because I want to be tough in tournaments.
And usually improving will lead to wins.
Yeah. If we play a team and they beat us by 20, next time we play them, they might beat us by 5. So that's to get a little better. And if we got to play them the third time, that's when I want to beat them in the play.
Right.
So, that's my goal. It's always something to work towards. And it kind of puts a carrot in front of them, and they just keep working.
All right. Guy Finstrom, coach of the Climax-Fisher Knights girls basketball team, will have your opening game against Northern Freeze on Monday the 4th on yourliveevent.com. And Guy, I'll be checking in with you for the Coaches Corner for KRJD Radio's Coaches Corner, and I'll see you on the 4th.
Thank you very much. You have a good Thanksgiving.
All right. And we'll continue on the yourliveevent.com Coaches Show, brought to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation after this.
Live, work, and play here in Hillsborough, North Dakota. The Hillsborough Economic Development Committee can assist you with information and support for business and housing. Experience Hillsborough. More at 104.
Head coach of the Hawley Nugget boys basketball team, Nathan Stoa, with us as we've transitioned now from Coach Stoa and the cross-country conversation into the basketball conversation. And so we go through the next few months of catching Coach Stoa's wisdom of basketball. And Nathan is always appreciated. I did say wisdom. You're one of these senior members of the coaching staffs in our area now.
Well, yeah, that's a scary thought. That means experience is a nice way of saying getting old, right?
Sure.
But then, we're college visits and everything else has made me feel that way so far. So I'll try with the wisdom part, but I give no guarantees.
Okay. Well, I do know this. You're coming on another season of Nugget basketball, and for the Hawley boys, you're looking forward to the season. I know this. This is number 10, year 10 in Hawley for you. You bring back a couple of starters from a year ago, but you're going to try to be right there in the competition again for the HOL and Section 8 AA. How's practice been? How's the preseason been going?
Practice has been really good. I mean, we got our whatever it was. We got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, took the break obviously for Thursday, and then went Friday, Saturday. We skipped scrimmages this year. just wanted to try something a little different, and kind of keep everything internal to that, and we've been really, really happy with what we've seen so far. We've got a bunch of guys, especially in our older crews, that are really bought in. They bring back experience from, a variety of different levels of experience, but bring back that experience. A lot of our guys played big roles in the fall as well, in some of our skill positions on the football team. So even taking that experience of having to step into different roles and bigger roles, or, in Noah Nelson's, really commanding a huddle and things like that. So we've been really happy at the growth and maturity we have seen out of our crew so far.
9 through 12, what are you working on numbers wise this year with the team?
We're pushing 40 right now. It's a little skewed in my mind because we bring our 8th graders in as well. We started that here in the last couple of years, where we jumpstart their season on an optional basis and let them come in and work with us, because waiting till January just seems cruel. And so we bring them into. So we're just in that little bit over 40 realm right now.
Okay. And as far as the section, the Section 8AA traditionals, but then in recent years, you've seen some additional schools kind of start making some jumps. 8AA, Heart of Lakes Conference, a lot of crossover there. Should be a really competitive year, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think as a section, based off of what was lost last year to graduation, you got quite a few kids off those top squads that are learning their ways right now at the college level. And that's gonna leave our section with maybe a few more questions than we have answers so far. And it's going to take a while to sort some of those things out, both in the conference and in the section. And, the HOL is, 5 of those teams are usually in the thick of things in AA now, with Frazee and Breckenridge being single A, and they'll do their thing well at that level. So yeah, you're right. That crossover is there, and it makes the schedule, a pretty tough task from year to year. And right now, like I said, we've got a lot of teams trying to replace some pretty big, fixtures from their lineups here over the last few years. We're going to have to replace, the second leading scorer in the league and the second leading rebounder in the league. We're going to have to replace a 4-year starter, and we're going to have to replace one of our other starters who was just our physical athletic dude out there. And then we also have to replace a leader who didn't log a lot of minutes, but was influential off the court and during practice, in what we were doing. So everybody's got a lot of that to tell, those stories to tell. Some didn't come through the football season clean, and there'll be some adjustments there as well that'll need to be made. So yeah, there's a lot of answers to still be found out there. But, when all is said and done, we know that 8AA and the Heart of Lakes are going to be competitive.
Early season, you're going to get some great tests looking at your schedule. But before we talk schedule, I guess I got to ask, strengths of the Nugget team. What are you looking at as far as maybe leaning on for some of those strengths for this year?
Well, right now, I think it's our chemistry. I mean, I really do. I know Peter talked a lot about it in the fall, about our seniors and our juniors really get along well together. And in that process have brought in our sophomores and our freshmen just into the fold. And we're not looking for big contributions out of our youngins at this point, but just to know that that level of respect carries itself throughout the gym, and that chemistry is there, through and through, is a big deal for us right now. And then with that comes in, I think we're bought in pretty well top to bottom right now. And nothing was more evident than last Wednesday, I believe it was. We brought in Coach Risfed from Pelican Rapids fame, but also West Fargo playing fame and science school and UND and everything else. But he came in as a favor to us and, to one of his former players and Coach Haugen, and helped us put in some things defensively. And our expected rotation guys, plus a couple others, played defense for about 45 minutes straight in practice, learning, and engaged the entire time and just locked into what they were doing. They understood the why, and they understood the special guest portion of it, and they understood that, hey, we're doing this for to help us get better. And I don't think we've had a crew in the last few years that could have done it for that long at that high of a level. So that really, that was a real good test for them early. And every practice since then, we didn't have a bad Black Friday practice, which is probably the first time I can say that in 10 years. usually that's a tough one to come back from, and we got work done that day to a quality level. So I'm excited in the buy-in level and the chemistry level right now that we have. Now, hopefully that transitions to the court on Friday night.
That's right. And to the schedule portion, you're going to open up the season at home. Then you're going to be road warriors through the first portion of December, and really just a couple of home games in the month of December. From that standpoint, some great competition with what you have in the section and conference anyway. Now you bring in an Ada Borp West. You go to the St. Cloud gathering here this December, and you've got Rockford, you've got Providence Academy, you've got some big time matchups and some unique ones too. You're headed to Perham for the breakdown with Legacy Christian. You've got some really good, and even some North Dakota on your schedule too. So this season should be a challenging one, and it's set up that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one that's going to sit here and count my record or count records. We will look at numbers when things are all said and done for our players and celebrate them for what they do and what they have done. But that's not something that we're ever going to sit back and do. So our goal, obviously, you want to get into a situation where you're home in the first 2 rounds in the playoffs. So that's something we want to check off the list in the process of climbing as high as we can in the section, obviously there, and in the conference. But what it really comes down to is, are we going to play our best basketball in March? And in order to do that, we need to be exposed. No better way to expose yourself than right off the bat, bring in a top 10 Class A team in the state with, at least 3 guys that are returning all conference type players on that squad. And we're going to see that in our gym on Friday night. They've got some answers to have too, as they switch things over on their coaching staff. And there's going to be some growing pains, I'm sure, for the Cougars as well. But that's a great early test. Same thing is going to be said of Pelican Rapids in game 2. We're going to have to go to their place. They're going to get their dude back in Timmy Guler, who's been away from the game of basketball, for HOL stakeholders for way too long. And we're going to get him back into the fold. But again, that's an adjustment and a growing process for what Pelican's going to have. But again, that's a team that we expect to be in the top of both the conference and the section when things play out. And then making our schedule as strong as we possibly could, and being fortunate enough to be able to do that at breakdown events on neutral floors, bringing up Legacy Christian, who was the runner-ups to a team that beat us last year in their section in New Life Academy, but are bumped up to AA. And then getting, like you said, Providence and Rockford. We're also going to get to see Osakis, which is a power top-level type team out of their section when we go to Alexandria. And then the defending state champs from Class B North Dakota being the last add to our schedule. And hopefully we get to play that in the Palace that the Spuds are building over in Moorhead. So these are all things that'll just help strengthen it even more. And, win them or lose them, they're going to expose things that we go to practice and work on after that. And that's what we look for. If you don't play a tough schedule, you're gonna find that you didn't get your weaknesses exposed as easily as you can be, and you may not be ready to practice and build off of those. We know that right away on Monday we're going to be working on things that Ada exposed of us on Friday.
Well, I know that this season you're obviously excited about it. I can tell just in general too. And there's been a lot of positivity floating around in the gymnasium in Hawley again, which is great to hear and great to see that as well. So season starts December 1. Who do you have assisting with the program this year, Coach?
Bring back the same staff we had. We've had last year. We've got Coach Travis Haugens back with us doing his head JV duties along with varsity assistant. And kind of running the defensive coordinator stuff. So he has a hand in it with the varsity guys all the time. And then Miguel Garcia, the third of both Pearly, Norman County West, and Ada Borup fame, is our head C team coach and varsity assistant as well. So I'm really happy with the continuity that we have, but I'm also really happy having a staff full of guys that understands what we're here for and going to build relationships, and that the kids of all of our levels have, people that they can go to and learn from and get better and be fantastic role models. So I'm excited that we bring back the same staff as last year. And then 7th and 8th grade level, we'll have Drew Thompson at the 7th grade level and Zion Smith at the 8th grade level for the second straight year in a row there too. And, feel the exact same way about having them in those positions as I do about having Coach Haugen and Coach Garcia in their spots.
MG3. So at what stage of the year do you try to get a mustache as pure as his that's in place? I mean, at what stage do you have to do that to sort of meet up,
Coach or Kevin, as we say as coaches, you got to know your role and you got to star in your role.
Yep.
Facial hair is not my role. So I got to leave the full beard to Coach Haugen and that amazing stash to MG3 because it's not going to happen. I'm going to keep the razor close to the sink and we'll just have to take care of things on game nights.
Somebody has to get that Edge Pro Gel, endorsement. Somebody's got to do it.
Someone's got to be there for it, and it's not going to be one of those two, so I'll have to keep her clean.
I enjoy that. Great conversation as always. Look forward to seeing you guys on the sidelines again with Nugget Games and YourLiveEvent.com on home site, and of course, additional coverage throughout the year. And we look forward to our weekly chats on the Coaches Corner and having you on with the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show as the year goes again. But Nathan, thank you. Appreciate the time, and good luck to you and the Nuggets as the season unfolds.
All right. We appreciate any time we get. Thank you, Kevin.
That does it for the YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show. Join us every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for the latest up and down the Red River Valley. The YourLiveEvent.com Coaches Show is presented to you by the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation.